Good afternoon, Prosper. I'm Troyce Murphy, and this is the Pandemic Program, bringing you all the news you need to know from at least 6 feet away. Starting off with some news to brighten your day, Wednesday morning, the U.S. Navy Blue Angels flew over hospitals starting at McKinney, Baylor, Scott, and White to honor healthcare workers and first responders. Julia B. Zion was on the scene and has all the highlights.
U.S. Navy's Blue Angels flew over hospitals all around the Metroplex to honor healthcare workers during COVID-19.
Because they work very hard and they get supported and they get to see, because it's not every day that they get to see planes that fly over the hospital.
They should be honored for the work they're doing, and they should also be remembered, because when this is over, supposedly things go back to normal, but so many times this stays with you. The memories of this stay with you for years and years.
Shots have officially been fired in the demilitarized zone of North and South Korea. Seoul's military said gunfire that came from the north hit a guard post in the small center border town of Chilwon. This is feared to be a warning to the South Koreans that the North Koreans are preparing to attack once again in their ongoing quest to conquer the whole Korean peninsula. Although U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said this was likely accidental and unintentional, no casualties or injuries were reported in this incident. Mike Pompeo also stated on ABC's This Week that there's, quote, enormous evidence to support the coronavirus originating in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and that China has a history of infecting the world with viruses going as far back as to the Black Plague. Two theories have been made as to how it had happened. The first being that the coronavirus was created as a part of a Chinese bomb weapon research program linked to the WIV, which is deemed highly unlikely. The second theory suggests the virus was being studied at the WIV and one of the employees was accidentally infected as the result of an accident. Neither of these theories has much evidence, but experts say the second appears to be most applicable. Former Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton signed a one-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys for a minimum of $3 million and a maximum of $7 million, which he can reach if he helps them win Super Bowl 54. This signing brings Dalton back to his home state where he went to football powerhouse Caddy High School and was the all-time winning quarterback at TCU. He also currently owns a home in Dallas. Adding Dalton to the team provides insurance at the QB position if Dak gets injured and misses a few games. And Dalton is regarded as one of the best backups in the league because he's been a starter for his whole career and led the Bengals to 5 playoff appearances. Dak will be the starter in the Week 1, and even Dalton said, "I'm here to help Dak Prescott." Governor Greg Abbott's first phase of his Open Texas plan went into effect 1 week ago, leaving many people excited for businesses to open back up. But some Texans are still concerned with the continuously spreading coronavirus. Abbott decided to expedite phase 2 of his Open Texas plan in his Tuesday press conference, where now cosmetic salons may open if they choose. Corey Tennyson took to Twitter to find out if you guys were likely to visit some of these places.
With Governor Abbott announcing the start of the lifting of lockdowns and the reopening of the state starting on May 1st, we asked viewers on Twitter if they intended to go out to any of the businesses that have reopened. Of those who responded, 39.2% stated they intended to go out after the reopening started, while 60.8% stated they did not intend to go out. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Corey Tennyson, Prosper.
Now that we've seen those results, Jordan Ramsey took a dive into differing opinions about Open Texas to PHS students.
As the amount of time spent in quarantine increases, and as cases of COVID-19 continue to rise, many experts and ordinary people across the globe are forming their own opinions in regards to quarantine orders.
I read for restaurants and for malls and stuff, it's like 25% capacity. I think that doesn't make sense. Are we going to send people away? Will there be a person at the door, like having a group of Karens asking if they need to like go in? Are people going to be counting? It seems like first it's going to put a lot of unnecessary labor on employees who aren't receiving enough money for what they're doing and the risk that they're exposing themselves to. And it also just seems like it's not going to be effective.
Greg Abbott's response to taking steps towards the end of quarantine is the right way to go, because at the end of the day, the economic recession that could be inflicted by an absolute quarantine, that at the end of the day could be much worse than coronavirus itself.
Currently, there is a nationwide debate between those who would prioritize public health and safety concerns and those who would rather reopen the economy.
For example, a Japanese island, Hokkaido Island, they just reopened about 2 weeks ago because they were worried about their economy. But then we had a second wave of the virus, and so they had to pass another emergency and keep people home even longer. So it just prolonged the whole process.
Both problems are there, both the coronavirus itself and the economic recession that can follow due to quarantine. So that's why I would institute a kind of mixture of both, kind of what Abbott is doing right now, not necessarily end the quarantine. You don't want people going around looking at everything, but you also need a response there in place in order to deal with the coronavirus itself and those afflicted by it.
Many people around the country have begun to protest stay-at-home orders by gathering at state capitals.
Those with legitimate concerns, who I believe make up the majority of the protesters, they are out of work. They need to support families. They need to do that, and they need the economies reopened.
People who are at protest or worried about the economy, I think the smartest thing to do right now is to listen to medical professionals, listen to doctors, so we can avoid more and more people dying and help prioritize that. The economy can be fixed. We can fix this, but if we're all sick and dying, it's going to take a lot longer to fix it.
Well, it seems that people across the nation, and even here in Prosper, Texas, have very different views on the quarantine. Continued dialogue and cooperation will hopefully get us all through these times. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Jordan Ramsey. Prosper.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Pandemic Program. I'm Tris Murphy, bringing you all the news you need to know today. And remember, stay at least 6 feet away.